Whether it's your first or second language, the preservation and teaching methods of Arabic are a major area of development across the country. Finding international schools that teach it to a certain standard can also be a challenge. Ta'alum, an education provider in the UAE that plans to take Arabic teaching methods to a new level. Joining us in the studio to discuss more on the organization's latest advances is their Chief Education Officer, Dr. Samia Al-Farra. Thank you very much for joining us today, Dr. Samia. Ta'alum is introducing new methods of teaching Arabic in the country. Tell us more.
Yeah, actually, as you said, Arabic, unfortunately, is nowadays a second language, third language for certain schools, for certain people in different parts of the Emirates, and there is an imperative and very important step to take it forward and to improve it at the value level so that students can really love it. And we at Ta'aleem, especially in our new school, the Jumeirah Baccalaureate School, are looking at teaching Arabic functionally, teaching Arabic so that it's meaningful, it's relevant, it's exciting, and it's cool. And I mean, when I say cool, I mean more using fine arts, performing arts, using songs as we teach the language, involving students in their internal as well as external environment, in using its function.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Dr. Samia, what do you think is the problem with the current teaching methods we have available? How do you think we can improve on those?
I believe there are many reasons behind what you see in teaching Arabic, although I must admit that there are innovations, recent innovations in teaching Arabic. One of them is the training of our staff. I think they were trained in a certain method of teaching whereby it wasn't that child-centered, but rather than teacher-centered. So the child was thought of as a vessel to be filled, rather than a child has its mind, his minds can come with his questions and has interests and hobbies. And rather than designing these lessons around the children's needs, the children's interests, it was more of teachers directed and teachers designed. That's
fantastic. You know, it's interesting because as a student of Arabic myself, I found learning the alphabet quite a challenge. So I used to make songs up to learn Alif, Ba, Ta. How do you hope to engage students with this new program? Creative.
Yeah, actually nowadays inquiry and approaches inquiry and research is the core of what we're after. We're trying to create the inquirer mind, the thinking mind, the knowledgeable mind, the disciplined, the principled, the reflective. We're trying to create the child who comes with questions and keeps on questioning, a child whose interests are at the core of what we do. So in curriculum design, this is something we care for. At the pedagogy domain and differentiation, it's another area we look at, and also at the assessment domain as well. So the child is the center of the whole educational process as we treat it.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. Dr. Samia Al-Farra, Chief Education Officer at Ta'aleem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Today we hit the streets to ask you who you think are the best or worst role models for children